Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a powerful story that could completely change the way you see yourself and your potential. It's a story about a beggar who became a successful entrepreneur, and it all started with a simple shift in his mindset. It perfectly illustrates the idea that what you think, you become. Our story begins with a beggar who spent his days on the street, holding out a bowl and asking for money. He truly believed he had nothing to offer the world. His self-perception was that of a person with nothing to give, so all he could do was take. Day after day, he'd receive a few coins, just enough to get by. His life was stuck in a cycle of dependency, shaped entirely by his belief that he was worthless. One day, a successful entrepreneur walked past. The beggar, as usual, held out his bowl. But the entrepreneur didn't just drop in a coin and walk away. He stopped, looked the beggar in the eye, and said something that would plant the seed of change. He said, "I'm a businessman, and I operate on the principle of exchange. I give something, and I get something in return. If you have nothing to give me, you have no right to ask anything from me." The beggar was stunned. No one had ever spoken to him like that. He started to think about what the entrepreneur had said. He looked at his bowl with its few coins and realized why people didn't give him much. He wasn't giving them anything in return. It was a one-way transaction. This realization was the first crack in the wall of his old mindset. He decided to change his approach. He went to a nearby field, picked a handful of beautiful wildflowers, and returned to his spot. From that day on, whenever someone gave him money, he would give them a flower in return. The reaction was immediate and incredible. People were surprised, and they smiled. They weren't just dropping a coin out of pity anymore. They were engaging in an exchange. And because they were receiving something beautiful and unexpected, they started giving him more money. His bowl was fuller than it had ever been. He felt a sense of pride he hadn't experienced before. A few weeks later, the same entrepreneur walked by. The beggar confidently held out his bowl, and when the entrepreneur dropped in a coin, the beggar handed him a flower. The entrepreneur smiled and said, "You've learned the lesson well. You're not a beggar anymore. You're an entrepreneur." The beggar was taken aback. "An entrepreneur? How?" he asked. The businessman replied, "You're trading. People are paying for your flowers. You just have to realize that you're selling them, not just accepting charity." Those words were a revelation. He wasn't a beggar. He was a flower seller. That night, he couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the entrepreneur's words in his head. The next morning, he made a decision. He quit begging. He spent his days picking more flowers and his evenings selling them in the market. People loved his fresh, beautiful flowers, and his business grew. 6 months later, he wasn't just selling flowers on the street. He owned his own successful flower shop. He had completely transformed his life. This story teaches us two profound lessons. First, we only truly receive when we give. Life is a two-way street, a principle of exchange. When you offer value to others, the world gives value back to you. Second, and more importantly, your life is shaped by how you see yourself. The beggar was trapped by his own mindset. When he started seeing himself not as a helpless beggar but as a businessman, an entrepreneur, his reality changed to match his new identity. So, I want you to ask yourself, what is your mindset? How do you see yourself? Do you believe you have nothing to offer, or do you recognize the unique value you possess? Whatever you think, you become. Change your mindset. Realize your inner potential, and you can create an entirely new future for yourself. Thanks for watching today. I hope this story inspired you as much as it inspired me. If you found this valuable, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next one.